Welcome to another episode of Well-Adjusted Mama. I'm your host, Dr. Laura Brayton. And today's guest is Nagina Abdullah, and we're speaking on metabolism-boosting routines for busy mamas. Nagina Abdullah is a health coach for female professionals, corporate executives, and seven-figure entrepreneurs, and founder of the website masalabody.com. She teaches tested and perfected metabolism-boosting strategies to help women lose 20 to 40 pounds while working 60 plus hours a week, even if they have tried everything. Nagina has a degree in molecular and cell biology from UC Berkeley, an MBA from NYU Stern, and worked for a top 4 consulting firm as a management consultant before starting her health coaching business. She's been featured in health.com, Business Insider, people.com, and many more. Check out her website at masalabody.com and then use /WAM to get a free gift. Hi, Nagina. Welcome to the show. I'm very excited to have you on today.
Hi, Dr. Laura. I'm so excited to be here with you.
So you have such a fascinating story, and I love that you're going to be sharing some really, real life tips that listeners can start putting into their life immediately about really how to change our metabolism as busy moms and how to do it from a lifestyle shift that is not overwhelming and can actually create lasting change.
Absolutely. Yes. We're going to do that.
So let's start off with your story and kind of how you got to becoming a health coach and working with women and helping women get to a healthy weight.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Dr. Laura, I had actually struggled for my entire life personally with my weight and with my sugar cravings. And I loved food so much that I always felt like I just didn't have the willpower to do what it takes to be at my goal weight where I could confidently put on a bathing suit. And, what happened is that I actually started working in a very demanding career, which was my dream job, working in New York City as a management consultant, where I was working 60 plus hours a week, traveling all around, and living a life where it was really, really hard to spend a lot of time exercising. And so, in this lifestyle, I also had my first child and then my second child. And so not only had I struggled with my weight before, trying everything from Atkins to Nutrisystem to Weight Watchers to eating less and exercising more, and nothing had really worked because every time I lost weight, I would put it back on. Now I was at a place where I was at my maximum weight. I worked a lot of hours. I had 2 children and I was older. And so I felt like my metabolism was going down. And I was actually really concerned that I was going to have to live in a body that I felt tired in and that I felt like I didn't feel good in for the rest of my life. And it all hit me one day after I had my children and I was getting ready to go back to work. And I looked in the mirror and I saw myself and I said, who are you? And how did you get here? And, what was more concerning to me is when I started thinking about, what am I going to do to get out of here? I've already tried everything and nothing's worked for me. And now I have less time and I don't know what to do. And I was thinking about all the clothes in my closet that didn't fit me that I would have to start wearing to go back to work. And nothing fit me. And they were beautiful clothes. I wanted to be able to wear them. And so at that moment, things really hit me where I realized, this was about me feeling good about myself. And it was now also about me as a mother and having the energy to give my kids opportunities and to set an example for them that's healthy. And as I started looking out at the first 10 years of my kids' life, I thought about like all the things I wanted to do, like take them hiking, take them swimming, take them skiing, have fun with them, feel free. And I knew that I would not feel good about myself in the body that I was in. And so that's where I said, I have to make a change. I have to do something, but it has to be different than what I've done before because none of those things worked. And I had faith that I was not meant to be in that body that was overweight because it did not feel right. I did not feel healthy. And I actually had pain in my back and I knew I had to get rid of it with my weight. And so Dr. Laura, what I started doing is I have a background in molecular and cell biology. And so I started studying the scientific journals that I was very comfortable with. And I started reading about foods that boost your metabolism instead of looking at diet plans. And what I found was that there are many, many foods that boost our metabolism and allow us to eat more and feel satisfied and then change our metabolism so that no matter what age we're at, it starts coming off and you're never tired or restricted or starving. And so I started trying these foods out. I started adding them to my diet. I started making them really easy to prepare because I didn't have a lot of time as a busy mom. Made them very simple. And this is what happened. It felt incredibly magical. Like I literally snapped my fingers and my wish came true. Within 9 months, I was eating more. I was loving what I was eating. My husband and I were eating it together because he loved it so much as well. It wasn't boring diet food. It was amazing, delicious metabolism boosting real foods. Within 9 months, I lost 40 pounds.
Wow.
40 pounds. It was life-changing. And to put that in perspective, I had 20 pounds to lose to get to my pre-pregnancy weight. And I lost that within 3 months and then went on to lose the 40 pounds, which made me 20 pounds lighter than when I started having kids. So after having 2 children while working in a demanding career where I was working 60 plus hours a week, I was now in the best shape of my life. And what's even more surprising is that since that moment, since I lost that 40 pounds, it's now been 10 years. I'm 10 years older now, and I am not only at the same weight that I was 10 years ago, but I'm more fit, more toned. And now I have 10 years of memories that I look back on with my children of us going to the beach, jumping in pools, going water skiing, doing all the things I had dreamed of. And it was all due to me putting myself first and knowing how critical being at a healthy weight is for your energy and for your confidence and for your lifestyle. And now I teach other women how to do the same as I realized how easy it was. It didn't have to be so hard. It was more about looking at it from adding foods rather than taking away foods. And that switched everything for me. And now I teach other women how to do the same.
I love it. I mean, what an inspiring story. And, I think a lot of times in our culture, there's like, okay, you've been pregnant, you've given birth. Now you've had multiple children. So your body's never going to be the same. You're never going to have that fit toned body. Like that's gone. That story is over. Right. And that's not true. And I think what I love is you're like, I'm not even more fit than before my pregnancy. I'm more fit than I've ever been in my whole life. And I actually would find the same for myself. When I was like in college, I was overweight. I wasn't eating well. And, it's like lifestyle, right? So like, yes, you can be fit and toned and healthy after children. And I think what I'm hearing from you too is your why. It was more powerful because you're a mom, right? Mm-hmm. That was like, you're like, I am going to figure this out for myself, but also because I'm a mom and I want to be able to do these things with my kids. That why was not as strong before you had children.
Absolutely. It was. It became stronger because I thought, I could look out in the future. It's like, you have goals of what you'd like to do and what you'd like to achieve. And now it's bigger than just myself. And that's really what happens is when you start getting healthier, you can actually reset generations ahead of you. And that's why this is so important because it's not only about how you look, though that is very important because it adds to our confidence. It adds to our everyday feelings about ourselves and how we impact the world. So it's about you, but then also it's about like through the healthy habits that I started creating and putting healthy food on the table that tasted good, that everybody wanted to eat. It switched generations ahead so that now my son and my daughter it's very normal for them to eat healthy food. It's normal for them also to have an active lifestyle and to see their mom being part of their lifestyle. And that's really what was the change for me is like, this is about myself, but now it's about changing the story for generations ahead.
It really is. You're modeling for your children what a healthy lifestyle looks like, what mama's self-care looks like. There's this weird perception that a lot of women have that they're like, well, if I take time for myself, then that means I'm taking less time for my child. And I have to put my child first, right? But really, this is a different mindset of I have to take care of myself because I'm important and I love myself and my health is number one. There's nothing more important than our health, right? And by doing that, then also you're teaching your children, especially your daughter, when she becomes a mom, to put herself first and take care of her health. And they're healthy, right? Because they're eating healthy and they're moving. And, childhood obesity is a real thing and it's like skyrocketing. And we can really, link it to processed foods and inactivity, right? Too much screen time. So what you're demonstrating here is the opposite, So like, how did you do it?
How did I do it? Yes. So now what's the answer? Absolutely. So, the thing is that, after struggling for my whole life, I knew what not to do. And I knew what not to do was that I wasn't going to starve myself and I wasn't going to eat foods that were boring and bland because I knew that it wouldn't stick. And as a mom of two with a full-time job, I didn't have time to do things that didn't work for the long term. I didn't have time to lose 15 pounds and then gain it right back and then have to go through the yo-yo cycle anymore. I didn't have that luxury of time anymore. So what was really important to me was doing things that worked, that were efficient, and that would stay with me. And I knew that I needed to create a lifestyle change. And so what I decided is that as I was losing weight, I needed to like the process, because if I liked the process of losing weight, then I would actually want to stick with it. And so the first thing that came to my mind is I need to make this fun. I need to make losing weight fun. And one of the quick ways that came to mind, and I studied this and found out as well that it had so many benefits, was to use metabolism boosting spices in my food because it was so easy to use. And it also created delicious flavor. And not only that, it also helped me burn more calories, reduce my appetite, and increase my metabolism with a blend of different spices. And so, so one of the things I thought is I have to make this fun because I love eating healthy food. And then the other thing I thought is that I need to make this simple. I need to make it easy because I don't have the time to cook complicated recipes and to exercise for an hour and a half a day anymore. I don't have that time. And so what I did is I started committing to this principle that I now call easy eating, which is where you simplify what you're eating. You simplify your the complexity of your meals and your cooking methods. And so, I started with that. So those are two of the things that we can talk about: metabolism boosting spices and easy eating. And one of the first things that I did that actually merged both of those was that I did I started with my coffee in the morning. And this is really key because a lot of us women, or whether you don't have kids yet or you have kids, a lot of times our coffee or our tea or our moment in the morning is our savoring moment that we love. And I'd always heard that, you're not supposed to put sugar in your coffee. You're not supposed to put creamer in your coffee. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's going to ruin my moment. I felt like it wasn't even worth it to lose weight if I had to, either take any of those out or not have my coffee. And so I started reading and realizing that there is a sweet spice called cinnamon. And with cinnamon, it doesn't, obviously it's a spice, but it's not spicy. It's sweet. And when you use cinnamon instead of sugar or instead of an artificial sweetener, what happens is that cinnamon actually lowers your blood sugar and helps you store less fat. And so the first thing I did was I started adding cinnamon in my coffee. I did love, initially have this very sugary French vanilla creamer. So I started taking that out, replacing it with unsweetened almond milk, adding cinnamon. And then it became I started to love it. It was like, you just drink it for a while and then you start to love it. And then I soon transitioned to black coffee with cinnamon. And now I always have cinnamon in my coffee or my tea. And so then what happened is that, I that's where I started with adding cinnamon to my coffee, and I started seeing really, really great results. And so then the next thing is that I started realizing that using flavors was very important. And so I started using flavors and spices on my vegetables and combining the easy eating principle as well. And, this is really important when we all know that we're supposed to eat vegetables. But if you like, the reason most people don't eat vegetables is because we don't like how it tastes. It tastes boring. It tastes too hard. It's just not as good as eating a lot of other foods. So if you can create a secret, which I call tasty vegetables, and learn how to make your vegetables taste good, then what happens is that you fill up on vegetables and you don't have cravings for sugar. it's actually quite amazing that when you give yourself more tasty vegetables, you will actually decrease your desire for sugar because you're already full. And so one of the easy ways that I started doing this was using sheet pan meals for vegetables. And so I would turn on the oven for 400 degrees. I still do this all the time, 400 degrees. And then I would put, any vegetables that I had. Some of my favorites are asparagus, chopped bell peppers, mushrooms, and Brussels sprouts. So I would either put one of them or a combination of them. And then I would sprinkle any spices that I had. And, some of the favorites that I love are cumin, which actually has been shown to decrease belly fat, coriander, which has been shown to decrease water retention or bloating, and then also combine it with some sea salt and some black pepper. And black pepper has been shown to burn as many calories as a 20-minute walk. And so I would put all of those onto my vegetables, just sprinkle them on. Measurements are not required. It's just making sure everything's covered. And then I would put it in the oven at 400 for 15 minutes. And then I would have a bit of
oil with that too, avocado oil or...
You could put some oil. I mean, you could. I would usually just put cooking spray on the bottom and then put spices on it. And what I found is that so oil, you could definitely use it, and you can start there. But since oil is a fat, I prefer to use to get my fats from filling foods like say nuts or avocados, and so that they're going to be strategically keeping me full with the calories that I have. And so then I would have maybe I'd put a little bit of oil, but if you need
avocado oil would be filling.
Yeah, avocado oil could be, it's filling. And so, you could sprinkle, just do a little sprinkle of it on top of it, like a little bit, put it in the oven for 15 minutes. And then you have an entire batch of vegetables that can last you 3 days. And you just pull it out for maybe for lunch and dinner, or maybe for dinner. If you're if you have it with your spouse or with a partner, then you could, maybe it's for 2 days instead of three days or more. But then you have that easy side. And if you have vegetables, they are filled with fiber. And then when they taste good, what happens is that you're very satisfied from eating these amazing, delicious vegetables that have cumin, coriander. You could put cayenne pepper on it. You could put lemon pepper. You could put any spices you want. And because you're so full and satisfied, when someone puts out a plate of cookies or it's late night, you're watching Netflix, you actually don't crave ice cream or chocolate or sugar as much because you're so satisfied. And so I started realizing that everything was changing for me, where I was loving what I was eating. I was tricking my body to eat more vegetables by just making them taste good. And everything was so easy. And so, the other piece of this was really simplifying what I was eating, where I started finding a breakfast that I really liked and just having a go-to breakfast every day with my cinnamon coffee, using leftovers from dinner for lunches. And then when I would make my dinners, we would do batch cooking, which is similar to what, I just explained for the vegetables, like making something one day that would last for 3 or 4 days and then just pulling it out and mixing and matching. And so really simplifying, flavoring your food with spices, and then learning how to make your vegetables tasty were 3 really core principles that I integrated to lose the 40 pounds and do it in a way that I loved. And in fact, what happens is that after you start eating this way, your body starts craving these foods. This can almost seem unimaginable, but if you're craving sugar, a lot of the reason you're craving sugar is because you're giving your body more sugar in the form of unhealthier foods, processed foods, or foods that quickly break down to sugar. But when you replace it with these tasty vegetables, metabolism boosting spices, you start adding protein, your body is actually that you're feeding your good bacteria in your gut, and it's wanting more of that. So now I'm at a place where every meal, my gut is literally craving vegetables. I cannot have a meal without vegetables. And so that's what I call a utopia. When you're at this utopia and you're I don't even have the choice to not have more vegetables. My body's craving it. That's when everything becomes easy. And you also know that this can't be wrong. It can't be wrong to crave vegetables. And so you're treating your body really, really well. And you're sharing this, you're doing this with your family, with your children watching you, and it becomes part of your lifestyle and your family's lifestyle.
I love that. I also love roasting vegetables, and my go-to is cauliflower and broccoli. And my son is obsessed when I roast cauliflower with turmeric on it. It makes the cauliflower yellow. He will like just eat bowls of that, and we pack it for his lunch to go to school. So that's also, like you mentioned, you have it, you put it in a bowl in the fridge, and then it's easy to, you can have it cold, hot. I use an air fryer to reheat from the, other meals. So you're not putting it in the microwave, right? So these are all easy things. It's fast, and it's, nobody's like, we don't have time to roast vegetables every day. So you can do, a couple of days in advance and have it to go, and the whole family can enjoy it.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh, that's so great.
So I do know that sugar is so addictive, and that's a big thing. And so I think maybe we should talk a little bit more about that, because what I see like in my practice is that craving sugar, part of that is just like processed foods. If it's fat free, what do? They put sugar in, right? Or there's artificial sugar that's even sweeter. So it's creating this crave, and this addiction, really. Like it's an actual addiction that people are like, I want more, I want more. So, and then candida overgrowth too, right? So like you went back to that gut microbiome and that imbalance with the candida and fungus versus the good bacteria. So, I mean, if someone's really craving that sugar, I mean, do they go cold turkey?
Oh, so okay. So for sugar, so this is the thing. The thing about sugar is that a lot of times we think that to get off of sugar, we're supposed to take out sugar. And, because sugar is a drug, it does cause a lot of withdrawals. It is very challenging to do that. You could try, but a more effective, longer term way to actually get off sugar is to reverse the conversation and to say, what else can I add to my diet so that I'm no longer craving sugar? Because it's very possible to actually not crave sugar and to not even have those cravings to fight against. In fact, I currently have a client, she's an OBGYN. She has struggled for her whole entire life with sugar cravings. She has an 11-year-old child, and she just feels out of control with sugar. Well, after eating the way that I've been talking about and following a framework that I'll share in a moment called the fat burning food framework, after following that framework, she actually started realizing that she was so satiated and satisfied, and she no longer has the sugar cravings. And so it wasn't necessarily about saying, I'm not going to eat sugar, because then you have to replace it with something. Like you have to have something that you are eating instead. And so, instead of that, she would actually, she started eating more of the foods that we were sharing.
As a mom of a toddler, I know how frustrating it can be when the sun is shining in my child's eyes. We're driving down the road and there's nothing I can do to protect him. I'm just praying that I'm going to be driving by some tree coverage so to help, shield that sun from his eyes. And that's why I was so excited to find this product from Baby Trend called Cover Me 4-in-1 Convertible Car Seat. This car seat is amazing. It comes with an innovative and patent-pending integrative canopy that offers height adjustability, ratcheting coverage, and side sun protection to literally create an umbrella and shield that sun from my son's eyes, which is amazing. It's also so cool that this car seat can literally be used from newborn all the way through 100 pounds, which is phenomenal. It just makes the life easier for parents and child. To check it out, go to babytrend.com/OSSA, OSSA, and use the code COVERME20 for 20% off.
So, one of the things that I recommend, this is huge, is following what I call our tested and perfected fat burning food framework. And this is where you prioritize having 40 to 50% of your plate be protein and vegetables for every single meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then you sprinkle in healthy fats and healthy carbs throughout the day. So for each meal, you either have a healthy carb or a healthy fat. And so, what a healthy carb means is it means that it's a carb that doesn't break down very quickly, such as some of the carbs that break down very quickly are like white rice, white bread, white potatoes, those kinds of things. Instead, if you switch it and you have more complex fibrous carbs, like for example, beans, lentils, Ezekiel bread, you could even have some grain-like type things, which are called millet or buckwheat. These are higher fiber types of foods that they will keep you full and satisfied for longer instead of quickly breaking down and then you feel like you're hungry again. And so, having that, and then healthy fats are things like nuts, avocados, seeds. If you're having certain meats like salmon or beef, they double as a protein and as a fat. They have healthy fats in them as well. So when you prioritize and you actually understand what your food is comprised of, everything, it's eye-opening. Because you no longer have to count calories. You no longer have to worry about how much you're eating. All you have to think about is like, do I have the right framework on my plate? Do I have protein, veggies, and either a healthy fat or either a healthy carb on my plate? And when you do this is the formula to feel satiated and feel satisfied, full, and happy. And your sugar cravings will actually 90% or more are going to disappear. And I'll tell you about the next 10% and what those are. But most of our sugar cravings are actually a result of how we're eating, because we're giving our body foods that are causing more sugar cravings. But when you change it and you start taking the sugar out of your regular foods and doing the fat burning food framework, you no longer have sugar cravings. And so, one of the reasons that the fat burning food framework is so effective is because all the foods that I'm talking about, they don't break down to sugar. And when you are like, sugar's not only in sweets. That's the thing. That's the big myth, that we feel like sugar is in sweets, but sugar is in so many regular foods. And when it breaks down to sugar, it feeds that bacteria in your gut that craves more sugar. But when you're eating proteins, tasty veggies, you're eating healthy carbs and healthy fats, those actually don't break down to sugars, or if they do, it's very slowly. Like the healthy carbs will do it very slowly over time. And so you won't get those sharp cravings. So this is very key in a nutritional understanding of what we're giving ourselves. And it's very, very mind-blowing how quickly someone can get off sugar when they start doing this. It will happen within 1 to 2 weeks that someone will, like, literally the cravings will start going away.
I've seen that in my office as well. And I think, we're talking about literally coming off a drug, right? So you had mentioned in the beginning willpower, and a lot of women might feel like a failure because they're not mentally strong enough to lose the weight, right? And it's horrible for your self-esteem to feel like a failure. So what you're saying is, no, it's not about just taking the sugar out. It's just adding these things in. But when you're filling up on these other foods, you're not going to want to eat these processed foods that are creating the addiction, right? It's just a whole shift. So you have to go to the grocery store and shop differently, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's like learning what are the other foods that I can eat that won't have this. And then, the key is that so many women that are listening also are smart women and are making healthy choices. And a lot of times I talk to women that say, I'm already eating healthy. I'm doing everything right. What am I doing wrong? The thing that's different is that you are most likely not eating the right quantities of these foods. You may be eating too little of many of these foods. Some of them you may be eating too much of, but most likely what's happening is that we've always been taught to eat less. And so we're eating less of certain foods, but we're eating more of other foods. So for example, healthy fats are the one food that I recommend that you watch your portions for. Everything else you can eat what you want, because you're going to eat what you want. You're going to be satisfied. But when you're eating a healthy fat, like for example, a lot of people know that avocados are healthy, but if you have more than half an avocado, it's almost like 60% of your daily fat. And so anything else that you're eating is making you go over, and it's very dense with calories. So like for example, 2 tablespoons of nuts or 2 tablespoons of peanut butter is 200 calories, which is fine. But if you by mistake eat 4 tablespoons of peanut butter, which can happen, especially late at night, you quickly just intook 400 calories. That could definitely put you over what you would need to lose weight.
So Nagina, like I know that a big part of your program is talking about mindsets and mantras that have worked for your clients to help keep them motivated and consistent with their weight loss journey. Can you share a little bit about that with us?
Yes, absolutely. Well, the thing is that we all know what to do. Like we in general know what we're supposed to do. Many of us who want to lose weight or who've lost weight in the past, we know the foods that we're supposed to be eating. Though those are the approaches. Many of the approaches that are out there, almost all of the approaches that are out there, are all very restrictive and negative based. When you start actually looking at it from a positive way, it is more realistic to get to your dream body. But some of the mindsets that you have about how much time to spend on yourself, about if this is worth it, about if this is possible, that's what really is going to make this shift and make this change. It's like, do you believe that this is possible? And do you want it? It's really about thinking about why you want it. And so, I have this mindset that I like to share, which is all around the fact that we do, as women, we'll do things for so many other people, for our children, for our spouses, our partners, for our work. And when it comes down to us and how we're treating ourselves, we put ourselves to the back burner. And so one of the key mindsets that's important, that is what I call give yourself permission to lose the weight. Give yourself permission, because when you what permission means is, first of all, allowing yourself to know your why. Like, why do I want to lose weight? Is it just because I feel like it? Or is it because I know that if I look better, I'm a better version of myself? Is it because I want to have more energy for my family? Is it because I want to feel great as I get older and be able to do more things? Like, be clear on your why, because those are really important and those are great reasons. And if your reason is to look hot in a dress for a wedding you're going in, well, that's great too, because that's only leading to good things. Like, it's only going to lead to good things for you to feel good in your body. Sometimes you need a very urgent reason to get the momentum to create something bigger for yourself. And so, like, if you feel that momentum, just go with it. It's only going to lead you in a good direction. But when you're working to look hot in that dress, think about, how can I do this in a way where I can keep doing it even after that event? And that's where some of the things that we talked about today come into play, which is, how can I actually create a lifestyle? How can I create habits versus doing a quick fix that I know I'm going to reverse right after that?
Yeah, the quick fix creates the yo-yo. So, I mean, I'm sure you talk about this with your clients. Any habit takes 21 days. So it's getting that momentum, committing for at least 3 weeks, and then it's just natural, right? It's just, that's who you are now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, absolutely. So that's exactly what it is. And so that's really important, is that you give yourself that permission to give yourself the understand your why, and then to know that, if what you've been trying hasn't been working or it hasn't been sticking, then part of giving yourself permission to lose weight means, how do I get here? Like, I believe that I can get here. I believe that I don't want to stay where I'm at, and really being clear, like, I don't want to be where I'm at. So what are the tools I need? What are the resources? What are the shortcuts? Is there a guide that I can follow? Is there a roadmap? What's the different path that I need to take to get there? Because a lot of times we might stop and say, I want to lose 20 pounds, but we don't identify what we need to change about ourselves to do that. We just think that we'll just cut back and it will happen. And that's really the change. It doesn't come from cutting back. It comes from learning about what are the foods, what are the practices that you really like. And it's actually not time consuming. It's very time saving when you learn to simplify your life and eat the right foods that are good for your body. And because weight loss is 80% of what you eat, when you really start in on giving yourself the permission to learn how to eat the right way and keep your mindset strong to keep going and be consistent, you will do it. You will do it. And life will absolutely change on the other side. It's quite amazing once you lose that weight that you want to lose. And it's totally, totally possible. So, so that's a permission to lose the weight and giving yourself that.
And, also I want to talk a little bit about the loss of weight, because I know also sometimes, like, we could be like, I want to lose weight, but then our subconscious mind's like, wait, we don't want to lose anything. Loss is bad, right? So there's also something like with the verbiage of, do you talk about that in your program at all?
Well, the way the thing is that it's just like, that's why we always do talk about adding foods, adding metabolism boosting spices, adding tasty vegetables, adding protein. We call it protein more, because when you're always thinking about taking things out, it feels very negative from a psychology
Deprivation.
perspective.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it doesn't feel like something that's sustainable and that's something that can go on for a long time. And so when you really think of like, how can I make this fun? That's the way I started. How can I make this like something that I can keep doing? How can I make this like easy? Then it's kind of a fun challenge. And then you watch your weight falling down every week on the scale. It's quite a thrilling, amazing journey to go on. It's really exciting. When you start losing that weight and you start losing 10 pounds and 20 pounds, oh my gosh, it's like you won the lottery. That's how amazing it feels, because like you feel control over your body and you feel so good. You feel so much energy. You feel so much positivity, and you're able to wear like clothes that you love, that you never were able to wear before, that you hadn't been able to wear maybe for years. And so it's very possible, I want to share, like, a lot of times after we become moms, there's the stereotype that after you become a mom, that, you put on weight, you're frumpy, you may not be as fun. And those are all false. Those are all false. You can be a more fun, more sexy, more hot, more vibrant version of yourself after having children. And that's when you really embrace motherhood and never feel resentful of motherhood, is when you take care of yourself. And so making this a priority is there's nothing, I feel like, that's more important than taking care of yourself as a mother, so that you can really be the best mom that you can be. And you're not putting your bitterness or your frustration about where you are on your children. And you've taken responsibility for it on yourself. And now you're teaching them amazing, healthy habits, and you're living a life of activity and of fun and of memories that you're going to look back on, pictures that you took of yourself because you weren't hiding from your pictures.
I love that. I mean, it is like those magic memories, right, that we want to create with our families. And those moments require energy and presence, right? And that's easiest to do from a healthy body, for sure. I want to talk a little bit also about body image. I know that's a really hot topic. So a lot of times I feel like out on social media, it's like, oh, you can weigh anything and just be proud of your body, right? But I have concerns about that, because I do feel like there's a threshold where extra weight is going to negatively impact your health and your energy and your joints and how you're living, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah. So, I mean, like, body image is, we definitely want to feel confident in our bodies the way that you want to feel confident. Like, everyone has their own version of how they feel confident. And so, the main thing is, if you want to lose weight, you want to do it for you. It's not because someone else is telling you anything about yourself. It's not because of unhealthy reasons. It's because you want to get to your best health and you want to get to feeling the best about yourself. And, at a certain age, and I see this with many of my clients who are in their mid 40s and above, if you do have extra weight on your body, even as little as 20 pounds, it does start having health consequences. Like, you will see your blood pressure going up. Many women are on blood pressure medication or on blood sugar medication, and it's quickly solved once they prioritize their weight and once they start losing weight. Even something as simple as losing 20 pounds, which may not seem simple when you get started, but it really is very, very doable within 3 to 4 months. You will see all of those things change. I have multiple clients that once they start losing weight with us, they get off of their blood pressure and blood sugar medications, and they feel incredible. And that's when they're even in their 50s and above. And so weight is a huge reason that is an indicator of health problems. And so really, but body image is about, like, knowing that you're doing this for yourself and feeling good about yourself. Now, I would, probably most people would say that when they're able to wear the clothes they want to wear, when they're able to fit into what they want to fit into, walk into a room and feel like they're at their best, that gives them a much more positive body image. There's also something important about accepting where you are right now, and, like, accepting is one part. And enjoying or being happy with where you're at is another thing. So I'll be straight, forward that if you feel that you're not at your best right now, you should not accept that about yourself. It's just like accepting yourself at a bad place in your life. Why should you accept that? If you want to change, you can change. You just have to find the roadmap to change. And if you have something burning inside of you that says, I just don't feel like my best, well, you're probably right. You probably are going to feel better when you start changing. And so you can change. You can just take it step by step by step and know that you're doing this for yourself. I have a woman that I'm working with that is turning 60, and she just lost 60 pounds with me in the last year. Yes. And she had felt a really low body image because she had let herself be put last, and with her children were put first. And she started her daughter got pregnant, so she knew she wanted to take care of her daughter, and she started realizing her grandchildren are coming. She wants to have a life for them, and she doesn't want to feel so tired and so lethargic. And so she realized and felt really bad about herself that she put herself last. And so she took a stand. She started learning about the fat burning food framework. She started following the recipes that we provide, getting the accountability, and she lost 60 pounds. And she's still going. She still wants to lose more. And she feels like she looks and sounds and feels like a different person because she's so positive. She's so happy. She's put her health and herself first. And at some point, this becomes about adding more years to your life, And so it's like when you take care of yourself earlier, then you don't have to do it later on also, but you're going to have to do it at some point. So you might as well do it as early as you can.
For sure. And, it's interesting for this woman, her why wasn't even her kids, it was her grandkids. And, that's not an unusual story either. But I guess what I also love is, we learn like, oh, you're over 40 as women, our metabolism really slows down and it never gets, comes back and can't lose that extra weight. But that's also not a true story. You can change it at any age. It's never too late. And, I think that by getting to a healthy weight, if somebody can come off medication that their doctor is telling them that they're going to be on for the rest of their life, and now they're not on it anymore because they no longer need it. I mean, how amazing is that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because these types of things, blood pressure and diabetes, and even heart disease, these are all lifestyle diseases. And therefore, if you want a different experience, you have to do things differently, right? You have to change how you have been living to get a different body, different health.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
That's amazing. So I want you to tell us about Masala Body, and if women listening want to work with you, how they can connect with you.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Well, I'm really excited to share a free gift that I'd like to share with your audience that I've put together. And this is a great way to connect with me as well. This is my free sweet spice cheat sheet, which with the spice that's in your kitchen cabinet, and it helps to lower blood sugar and curb sugar cravings. And so this cheat sheet includes 3 health benefits of using this spice, 5 ways to use it in your day, and an easy recipe using this spice. And you can grab this cheat sheet at masalabody.com/WAM, stands for Well-Adjusted Mama. So it's specially for you, for those of you listening. So basically WAM, masalabody.com/WAM with 1A. And you can grab that there, and then you'll become part of my email list. And I'll send you, right after you grab that sweet spice cheat sheet, I'll send you my free recipe book with 7 metabolism boosting recipes to melt away your first 7 pounds. And I'll also send you a free training in that same email that you get from me, which will be how our clients are losing 20 to 40 pounds, how our professional women clients are losing 20 to 40 pounds, slimming down and feeling amazing in their clothes. And it'll be a 60-minute training that will tell you everything you need to know. And so those are the first steps, but just connecting with me at masalabody.com/WAM, get your free sweet spice cheat sheet that's only for those of you listening to this amazing podcast. And then I'll connect with you with my free recipe book and my free training after that, and more emails after that as well.
I love it. So people just have to take that first step, reach out, and get this conversation going. And I think, what I love is that you're providing hope for women, where I think in general, we're not getting a lot of that in the mainstream, that, this is possible, even, if you've been overweight your whole life or just since having children, it doesn't matter, that you can actually create a different version of yourself by making some small, simple shifts.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Yep.
I love it. Any last thoughts you want to share?
I just want to share that, when I became a mom, I actually thought that when I was starting to think about being a mom, I actually thought that meant that I was going to put myself last. I thought that I was going to end up being a frumpy, overweight mom, because those were all the images of other moms that I had seen around me. And I want you to know that it's absolutely not true. When you prioritize your health and your weight and what you're eating, everything comes from there. And then you will be impacting generations ahead of you, and you'll be feeling amazing every moment as a mom. Like, you'll feel that your kids added to you, that it's not that they're stressing you out. They're actually adding to you, because you get to live the life that you want and have your children with you. You get all the things that you were seeking when you prioritized yourself first.
I love it. I mean, this is what life is all about, is joy, right? And not just sacrifice.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, Nagina, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I loved being here.
Well, I hope this episode is providing hope and inspiration if you're feeling stuck in achieving a healthy weight, and knowing that it is possible, that you deserve to feel healthy and vibrant and have energy, especially as a mom, because that's what our families need and deserve. And how do we achieve that as moms? We put ourselves first. So remember that mama self-care is the mantra. Check us out on Well-Adjusted Mama on iTunes, Spotify, and don't forget to rate and review the podcast. We're really excited to get feedback and how these episodes have helped you in your life.